Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of How to Improve Your IELTS Task 2 Writing. This week we're going to be looking at planning your essay. This video is brought to you by Spanglish School. Please follow me on social and subscribe to my YouTube channel for more tips on how to improve your IELTS writing. So, in this video, we'll look at how to take a few minutes to plan your IELTS essay before you start writing. Now, remember, planning may seem like a waste of your precious minutes in the exam, but it can greatly help you improve your score, especially when we talk about task response. Now, for the Band 7, our task response says, addresses all parts of the task, presents a clear position throughout the response, and extends and supports main ideas, but there may be a tendency to overgeneralize and or supporting ideas may lack focus. So, in order to address each of these three areas, planning can help us because it helps us to ensure that we have read and understand the question correctly. Therefore, we ensure that we address all parts of the task. It helps us to choose which side of the essay or the argument that you will support. Thinking about opinion essays, discussion essays, outweigh essay, it's really important that you have a clear position and you argue it throughout your essay. And finally, it will enable us to brainstorm ideas so that you can select points that you will be able to develop fully without much difficulty when you are writing. So that is the idea why you should plan your essay. So let's look at the steps for how to plan effectively. Now, this whole process should take no more than about 5 minutes. We know that we have 40 minutes to write the essay in the exam, and it's really important that you spend up to 5 minutes in this planning stage. So the first step is read the question carefully and underline the keywords. So our example question today is, some people think that only electric cars should be allowed on the road by 2040. To what extent do you agree? So right off the bat, I can see to what extent do you agree. So I know that I'm going to be writing an opinion essay here. And the keywords that I see are electric cars, be allowed by 2040. So I know that is the topic that I'm going to be writing about. However, there is one more really important word in this question that many people may skip or not notice or not realize that it is important, and the word is only. Now, we always have to be aware of modifiers in the question because they will likely affect which side you take in the essay. If you read this question without only and you just write an essay about how it will be a benefit that we will have more electric cars on the road by 2040, you are not addressing all areas of the task. You're not answering the question that it's asking. It's actually asking you, should we only have electric cars on the road by 2040? So, other modifiers that could trip you up, we have only, always, none, never, any of those words like that. I recommend when you see them, really consider your response because you might find that it's actually easier to argue the opposite to the idea. So, for example, here, yeah, I like electric cars. I think they will do great things for the environment. However, should there only be electric cars on the road? I'm not so sure. I think it might be easier to disagree with this statement rather than agree. So that's why the first step is always read the question carefully and underline the key words. Next, you want to brainstorm ideas for both sides of the argument, regardless whether you are agree or disagree, or you think the advantages outweigh the disadvantages. Always brainstorm ideas for both sides of the essay. This will help you to identify which side is actually easier for you to develop. So we have our question, and we know that we have to either be for or against the statement. So some reasons for having only electric cars could be they're more environmentally friendly, they cause less air pollution, they use renewable energy, they're not dependent on fossil fuels, which can and will eventually run out, and they could be cheaper in the long run. The cars are expensive to buy at first, but charging is cheaper than buying petrol. Some arguments for against could be there's not enough infrastructure, we would need public charging stations, home charging stations, and this could be extremely expensive to implement. What will happen to our current cars? And this is where we can really address the only aspect of the question. If there are only electric cars on the road, what will happen to all the cars that we are currently driving? They could fall into disuse, be in a landfill, generate toxic gases, which could be even less environmentally friendly than what's happening now. And finally, they don't actually tackle the issue of traffic. More people may choose to drive their electric cars, so we will still be dealing with problems like congestion in cities. So these are the arguments for and against, and you'll see that I have more arguments than I will actually need when I'm writing my essay. So the next stage is choose the side and the reasons you will develop in the essay. And the way to do this is which points are the easiest to develop? Which points are the easiest for you to think of examples? The ones that are easier for you will mean you will spend less time worrying about what to write and more time actually writing and checking to make sure your grammar and vocabulary are correct. So it's really, really important that you consider which points will be easy for you to develop, think of examples, and which points will be more difficult. And that will decide which side of the argument you will argue. Now, in my opinion, for this question, as that word only is there, I would recommend, or I think it will be easiest for me to develop, the against side. And the reasons which I think will really help me to address this idea of only having electric cars would be not enough infrastructure and what will happen to our current cars. So those are the two points that I am going to include in my thesis statement and the 2 points that I will develop in the rest of my body paragraphs. So the fourth and final stage of the planning process is writing a clear thesis statement. That is so that you can organize all of your ideas clearly. So again, we have our question, we know which arguments we're going to include, and now we write a thesis statement which goes something like this. I disagree that we should only be permitted to drive electric cars by 2040 because the installation of the necessary infrastructure will be extortionate and it could cause more environmental problems in the long run. So in my thesis statement, I have answered the question, I have given my opinion, which is against, disagree, and I have given my 2 reasons which I will develop in the rest of my essay. So now that you have a clear opinion and points to support it, you are ready to start writing. Let's review the steps one more time. First, Read the question carefully and underline the key words. Second, brainstorm ideas for both sides. Third, choose the side and the reasons you will develop in the rest of your essay. And fourth, write a clear thesis statement. Follow these steps in the first 5 minutes of the exam, and your writing will be more focused and you will be able to develop your ideas much more clearly. So, I did say this whole process should take no more than about 5 minutes. So let's practice it in real time. I am going to take a totally new question, and in 5 minutes I'm going to underline the keywords, brainstorm ideas, select my ideas, and write a clear thesis statement. You ready? Start the clock. Okay, so my question for today is, some people think that exercise is the key to health, while others feel that having a balanced diet is more important. Discuss both sides and give your opinion. So let's start with the keywords. Exercise. Key to health. Others feel that having a balanced diet is more important. Okay, and I know I've got to include both sides and my opinion. So immediately, as soon as I see this part, I know that I'm going to have 3 body paragraphs in this essay. The first one, I'm going to talk about exercise. The second one, I'm going to talk about balanced diet. And the third, I am going to give my opinion on the topic. So let's think about exercise. First, exercise reduces physical health problems. If you do it consistently, you can reduce blood sugar, cholesterol, blood pressure, and maintain healthy BMI. And you can also think about your mental health. It combats mental health because it provides an outlet to cope with stress. Okay, so that's exercise. Balanced diet. What can we say about having a balanced diet? We could say ensure you get sufficient nutrients. With these nutrients, the body and brain can function properly. And perhaps another reason could be avoid cravings. Because with a balanced diet, your body is not dependent on a specific food. You can enjoy things in moderation instead of being addicted to them. Okay, what's my opinion? I think that a combination of exercise and balanced diet can help us with our, can contribute to good physical and mental health. Okay, so let's choose what we're going to include. From exercise, I think it's important to mention physical and mental health. For a balanced diet, I think I'll think more about nutrients. And for my opinion, I've got one opinion, so it's a combination. So now, let's write a kick-ass thesis statement. It is considered by some that exercising regularly is the best way to maintain a healthy lifestyle, whereas others believe that a well balanced diet is more beneficial. In my opinion, a combination of both diet and exercise is key to maintain your physical and mental well-being. Boom, that's it. With 15 seconds to go, I have read and understood my question. I have brainstormed different ideas, so now I know exactly what I'm going to write about in the essay. I have selected my ideas and I have now written a well-organized thesis statement that answers the question and that will allow me to carry on developing the rest of my essay in under 5 minutes. So probably the thing that I hear most from my students is, I don't know what to write about. I can't think of any ideas in the brainstorming stage. This, I'm afraid, comes with practice, 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 practice. Keep up to date with current events, read things that are happening in the world right now. That might trigger some sort of idea on the day of the exam that you could write about. But the more you practice, especially the more you practice planning and the more you practice brainstorming ideas and the more you practice writing your essay, the faster this process will become, and you may even be able to do it in much less than 5 minutes. Okay, so practice, practice, practice. If you're tired of not getting feedback on your essays or you want to know specific areas you can improve, check out my Instagram page for information on ways I can give you feedback on your writing. So, thanks for watching the video. In this video, I explained how to improve your IELTS Task 2 writing by planning your essay. Don't forget to follow me on social, like the video, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I will continue to upload more advice on writing your IELTS Task 2 essay.